All right, welcome to the pilot episode of Let's Talk About Music. And I am here with amazing friends, my cousin Jason Stentz and my buddy Dan Teisan. Dan and I have been friends for close to 30 years. We met at Microsoft together and we've been friends ever since. And Jason is just cursed to be related to me. So there's no escaping that.
Yeah, I got no choice.
Yeah, but we've all been friends forever, and we all are incredible music nerds. And you guys were immediately who I thought of when I started putting the idea for this together. And I just want it to be like this ongoing, revolving cast of characters. And you guys are going to like pop in and out of different episodes and different guests and, multiple instances of like different iterations of our groups of friends. So
awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I'm just like I said, I'm absolutely thrilled, and you guys were my immediate choice for the pilot episode. So Dan, starting off with you, like what was the music playing in your guys' house? What was on the family stereo that got you hooked?
I don't remember not wanting to be a guitar player in a band. Like it was so, or there's pictures of me like 2 years old, like no pants, walking around with a guitar, like never didn't want to be a guitar player. Like
wear pants.
Well, yeah, I mean, pants are just because I'd be arrested if I didn't wear them, but like mostly still don't want to wear pants.
Always optional.
I mean, yeah, that's the. I mean, it's just a social construct. Like,
yes,
guitar is necessary, pants are optional, right?
No doubt.
Mostly, unless Denny's, because they clearly have that sign.
Sadly, sadly, yeah. There's no pantsless Denny's would be a total thing.
Like I'd go for sure. Yeah,
right.
I think in most cities it probably still is. I mean,
like that one in Bellevue. That one in Bellevue, was definitely a pantsless Denny's for a while.
The old one on Denny Way that was there for like ever. That was the after hours bar hangout.
Yeah,
it was like that or 13 coins, and 13.
The Hurricane.
Hurricane. Which no longer exists anymore. Sadly enough,
it does not.
Yeah.
Jason, what was your first music? Like, what was the first band that made you just kind of like shake your ass and dance around the house?
Okay. Yeah. Well, when I was young, my mom was an aerobics instructor, and so to make her like mixtapes, she'd do it from vinyl. So we would go together to Peaches Records in the U District and buy vinyl and listen to all kinds of stuff, man. Queen, I think, was probably the first one. Both my mom and my stepdad Daryl were both huge Queen fans. And then kind of when I was of age, you showed me all the good stuff, man. I was actually just talking about the other night, the first real tape that you ever gave me was Jimi Hendrix, Castles in the Sand. And I'm pretty sure if I dig in a box, I still have it. So
gateway drug.
Gateway drug indeed, man. Yeah. So I definitely have to attribute all of my musical prowess to my cousin. He definitely started it off, and then like Dan said, I don't remember not loving music. It moves me every day, and picking up guitars, basses, all that. So yeah. That's where it all started for me.
I went in cycles. Like I started like 2 or 3 years old. Like I had a guitar, but like, this is like 73, like 73, I was born. So like 75, 76, Kiss was huge, right? Like everybody our age.
Of course.
Kiss, right? Yeah. So I just, there's pictures of me at Halloween, like 4 years old, dressed like Gene Simmons, like that's all. But it was just the affectation, it wasn't the music at the time. I didn't really get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 7 years old, I kind of started to get it.
Yeah.
And I started taking guitar lessons at 7 and like learning songs. And like, I got my first electric guitar at Christmas when I was 7 years old. Right.
That's incredible.
And that was like, cause I was like, I didn't want anything else. I didn't care. I gave no shits about anything else. And then that was sort of so like 1980, 81. So I didn't really know what was going on musically because my parents weren't into like any popular stuff, but like I just knew the sound when I heard it and I wanted to make the sound. And like that amp didn't make the sound, that guitar didn't make the sound. So I didn't understand like, why doesn't it make the sound? Make it make the sound, right?
Yeah.
And I would go see my cousins and they would have Kiss records and, you know, I'd hear it on TV, but I didn't understand the connection. And then we actually left the country and moved. I grew up overseas. Like we were gone for like 17 years. But like that was the pursuit. But like, so about 11, 12 is kind of when I decided, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to start to really practice. And that was my stepsister came to visit us overseas and she had like metal tapes. Like she had a whole box of metal tapes, like Dio and Twisted Sister and Motley Crue and like that, the whole thing, right? 80s metal. That was me. And guitar players that could play. And there was a thing that happened to me where I really liked Michael Jackson's Beat It. And I didn't really like Michael Jackson, but I liked that song.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, of course, till years later, oh, fucking Eddie Van Halen. Like that's why I like that song.
Right.
Right.
When Eddie did the solo, yep.
And that was the thing, right? It's Steve Lukather and Eddie Van Halen. Like it doesn't get any better than that.
Totally.
So like that was my sort of trajectory. So then like 11, 12 was when I was like, okay, I got to practice. And I started practicing and I practiced, like I played every day from the time I was about 11 and 12 till I was like, I mean, you know, through GIT and, you know, then it was just like every day. Until I got a real job and then I couldn't play every day. And then Carl and I met. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life does get in the way eventually.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's and I have the same upbringing. I grew up in a little hick town in central Washington, and there wasn't a lot for kids to do. And I was hidden down in the basement with my crappy little Radio Shack cassette player and a stack of cassettes. The life-changing cassette for me was Kiss Dress to Kill.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kiss Alive 2, and then Love Gun and Destroyer. And right? And
the fake crowd noise.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then the next door neighbor would loan me records. And he's like, oh yeah, Kiss, you can't just listen to Kiss all the time. Here's Aerosmith. Here's Kansas, Leftoverture, or Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic, or BTO, Not Fragile. And then somebody gave me the first Van Halen record. And I remember listening to it and just like, what is that noise? It doesn't sound like a guitar. And I'm looking at the back going, I don't see a keyboard guy. And I don't know where these noises are coming from, but these don't sound like guitar noises, And right. And just the detuned, and then that bass, that boom, 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 boom. It was really impactful. And at the same time, I was mesmerized by bands that had like this versatility of sound where they had multiple lead singers. Like Kiss, they all four sang at various points. Somebody turned me on to Styx. The Grand Illusion at the time was huge. Yep. I think it came out in like 77, 76 or 77, right around the same time as the first Van Halen album. And it was huge. And I went back and listened to a couple of the earlier Styx albums, and they were still pretty good. And they had like James Young is a monster rock guitar player, and he has that really gravelly kind of rock and roll voice, and I wasn't real keen on all the real keyboardy kind of, some of that.
Sure.
But I dug that they had, 3 singers in the band and they could go for a lot of different sounds.
Totally.
Yeah, you were keyed into the vocals. Like I didn't pay attention to vocals until like 2012. Like, I mean, like it was, you know, when I've already been writing songs for 20 years and I was like, nobody gives a shit. It's about the guitar player.
Yeah.
You know, like I went to music school and like, it's just, it's about the guitar solo, right? It's just a song is just a foundation for guitar solo. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but like that was
but not by much.
Right. Not by much.
Not by much.
Seriously. And that's cool that you were into the vocals like that early on. You keyed into that there were vocals and you could tell the difference and like hear the harmony and all that.
It wasn't that the vocals were the most important part. The riff and the melody were by far the most important thing. I liked bands that didn't sound the same from song to song to song. You know, mm-hmm. They had like, and being able to add those flavors of different vocalists.
So you love Nickelback, is what you're saying?
Wow.
Yeah, no.
Bands that sound different. Every song is different.
Every song.
Right. Every song. Yeah. Every song is different.
I was kind of a big vocal guy too. I mean, it had like the song had to have some sort of sustenance or meaning. You know, like the Pink Floyds and The Wall and Dark Side of the Moon and stuff like that. That was a huge turn on, you know, as a young 12, 13-year-old kid to see 7-minute songs and to see just, the lyrics definitely had to have sustenance to them for me to be with it.
The 7-minute songs too were also like these almost like a classical arrangement, you know. Totally. They went through ebbs and flows, and then they kind of circled back on a theme, and sometimes they would touch on a riff throughout different chord changes, and that was really cool. And a couple of bands did it really well, like
jammy,
like Rush was what I always wanted Pink Floyd to be, in that they had like just ripping guitar, you know, that Pink
Rush?
Floyd. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, but David Gilmour, I didn't appreciate his subtlety for years, you know. Now I listen back to it and I'm like, oh my God, that guy is so good.
Untouchable.
And
he's my number
untouchable.
one.
Yeah, and he's fluid. The way he plays, the way he bends, and the way he like I was watching the one of the concerts, and he's bending sharp and pushing down on the bar at the same time, so that the note, it's still the same note as he's bending up and pushing down, but it just gains this texture to it. Mm-hmm. And I've never seen anybody do that. And it was just like this.
Jeff Beck is the only comparable, like the only person even close to that level of like intonation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, fuck with the bullness. I don't know what you
untouchable.
Call it, right?
Yeah.
Like that. And I have almost the opposite experience with, I don't get Rush. Like Rush is not in my, but it's because Rush is a rhythm section band. Like primarily, if you're a guitar player, you don't pick up on Rush mostly, right? I mean, I'm not saying he's bad. Lifeson's a badass guitar player. He is. He'd have to. You couldn't be in that band if you weren't a fucking monster player. Right. But he's the one in the background. Right?
You're right. Absolutely.
And when I was like learning, I was like, so my thing was like, because I was gone, because I missed out on all the basics. Like I was in my room like practicing, and then I had this friend who I kind of met, and he moved from Finland, and he had all the Shrapnel stuff. Yeah. So like I skipped from like Michael Jackson to Vinnie Moore, Tony McAlpine, you know, Paul Gilbert, Yngwie Malmsteen. Like I remember hearing Malmsteen for the first time, and I'd been playing for like a year and a half, 2 years seriously, and it just changed my whole fucking brain. Like my brain just went, how is that possible?
That Maximum Security album from Tony McAlpine, I was like, this guy's really good. And then I start reading through the liner notes in the cassette, and I'm like, holy shit, this has got George Lynch playing. George Lynch from Dokken, who is a monster player, is guesting on this unknown guy's record. It's like, and then you read about, guitar for the practicing musician, and he's just like, oh yeah, this guy kicks my ass, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And Vinnie Moore again, amazing player,
unbelievable. And then of course Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, like all that. But like, so I heard all that stuff, like, honestly, before I heard Zeppelin for the first time. Before I heard Rush for the first time, before I heard, so like, I didn't get it. Like, I missed, I'd heard Zeppelin probably, on the radio or something, but when I was like listening to it for the first time, I missed it. So I missed Pink Floyd, I missed Rush, I missed all the foundational stuff. And I just skipped right to like, right?
The shred, yeah.
Right. And so when I had the chance to sort of discover Rush, like it didn't grab my ear. So I kind of skipped over it. Okay. And what happened to me, so I did all that. Then I went to GIT, like I graduated high school.
Yeah.
And I graduated and I took a year off and then went to GIT. And then graduated from GIT after that whole thing was gone. Like, I graduated from GIT in 1994. Like, nobody gave a fuck about guitar solos in 1994.
Right.
Yeah. It was over. And I missed the memo, right? Like, the only thing that was going on for guitar solos was Dream Theater. And so that was what I was like, Dream Theater was my shit. That was the thing. And I did not care about anything but like shred guitar.
It was a great fucking show.
Exactly.
I think that's the couple times you and I talked, Dan, we talked about that Dream Theater show, and Petrucci's a monster, man. That Alien tune is ridiculous. And to watch him play it live, so effortless. It's ridiculous.
It's
and that band's funny too. It's Rushy, where like I don't even think they need a vocalist, man. Like he would go off stage and take like 10 minutes off. And there'd be like this crazy like keyboard keytar solo for like 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then Courtney would do his thing, and then Petrucci would do his thing. So but I'm with you with the Rush and the Zeppelin. I mean, I respect them for being the staples, but I skipped over that too.
Yeah.
I like them for where they are, but like, I mean, I say that and people want to kill me. Like, I'm cool with Jimmy Page, but Robert Plant's too many ooh baby babies for me, bro.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
I don't have I have the reverence for like their place in rock and roll.
Indeed, like, that's what I mean.
I think as a rhythm section, like you can't touch Bonham. You can't go near like Bonham for his influence and his ability and his madness and just his sound. Like you can't go near. Like when I write a song, I use a sample of When the Levee Breaks and just put it behind it so that I know that there's a groove in the song.
Right.
Like I just put it under there so that I know that the song will move your head, and then I mute it. But it's like a test, right? Because everything should have that, you speed it up, slow it down, whatever, but everything should have that feel to it. But I don't like listen to Zeppelin.
Nope, I'm right there with you.
And that's kind of how I am with Rush, like to take it back to Rush. Like I have huge respect for them. And I saw Peart come to MI and do a clinic, and he's astonishing.
Yeah. Right.
And I mean, like it was amazing, but I don't own any Rush records,
Nor do I, sir. Yep. Right there with you.
So an embarrassing fun fact. I've been playing guitar for I don't know, 15 or 20 years. And I knew a couple of Rush songs. I knew Fly By Night and Limelight and Working Man and a couple of those. And I had a bunch of guitars and I had a bass. And at some point I was like, I need a drum kit. And so I got a little like 5-piece drum kit, piece of crap. And I remember setting it up thinking, Fly By Night is a pretty easy song to play. Thinking, dummy. It's that Neil Peart is like the monster drummer of all drummers. So I put the headphones on and cue up Fly By Night thinking it's going to be, and the first thing is that drum bit that comes in, and I'm just like,
how do you do that?
Oh yeah.
Womp womp.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. And
the professor.
And I went back to like trying to do the Ringo thing, you know, the side slap hi-hat thing, and you know, just like, and then being schooled by the fact that Ringo is a really deceptively swinging drummer.
Oh, he's the difference. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
Absolutely. And then it was like a year after that when they did that that Ringo kit YouTube video. Did you ever see that?
I don't think so.
They had Ringo's kit, and Stuart Copeland gets up and sits behind the kit and plays. Wow. Chad Smith gets up and plays behind it. And like all of these great drummers get behind Ringo's kit and try playing the Ringo, you know?
Oh, wow.
And it's really cool. You can look it up on YouTube. Just look up Ringo's kit.
Absolutely.
You know? And it's about 10 minutes long, and every one of them is fantastic. And it just like, and Dave Grohl was there, but they're talking about how amazing Ringo was without really pulling any of the attention to himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, you know, with the egos of Lennon and McCartney, they really survived for that many albums because George Harrison and Ringo were willing to kind of fade back and not really grab too much attention.
He's the Beatles. Like that's him, right? Like, because they had another drummer. They had a guy.
Yeah. Was it Stuart Sutcliffe? Or
I think that's his name. Yeah.
Totally. Wasn't that the guy's name?
And it just wasn't working. And then like, I remember the movie, but there's that movie where they sort of based on the Beatles, and
Ringo's like quite a bit older than all of them, you know?
Oh, no kidding. I actually didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
He was already playing in a bunch of bands at the time. He was like 30.
Oh, wow.
And they were like 19, like,
and he's still doing it.
I know.
Like, he's got that band. Like, that band is insane. Greg Bissonette,
All Stars.
Oh my God.
Oh,
what a band. Yeah. That's another big like point in any musician's life, is like when you get the Beatles, like even if you don't love the Beatles, you sort of like, you kind of move into songwriting, you move into like, and you kind of like, there's Beatles and there's Prince, and you kind of get into songwriting and music, and you kind of go, oh.
Yeah.
And you know, those realizations of like, oh, it's all been done. We're fucked. Like there's nothing left.
And oh my God, for Prince too. You know, everybody knows, like when in high school, Purple Rain was the shit, you know? And there were some people that knew the 1999 album. Nobody knew about Love Sexy. Nobody knew about, and then you know, the battle with Sony. And then he released these 3 discs of almost demos of all of these songs that he wrote for other people. And I'm like, I remember that song. That was in the Hot Dog soundtrack. This song was so-and-so. That's that Sinead O'Connor song. This is shit. That Chaka Khan did that. I heard that on the radio. This one's from the Bangles. This one's from, and like, Prince wrote all these goddamn songs, and here are the demos of him singing them. And like When You Were Mine was a great song.
Yep.
I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man is just so funky. Yeah. I goddamn love that song. Mm-hmm. You know? And then like from his songcraft, just the amazing ability to put rhythms together, and using those, like that piece of shit TS-808, like all of those drum sounds came from that. Everything was recorded on like a little 8-track in his bedroom, and he was making like professional quality demos. And then Purple Rain comes out, and you see what a guitar player he is.
Right. And
I'm just like, game over.
So I because of where I was, like I hadn't heard any of the early records.
Yeah.
Really, I'd heard, you know, whatever was on the radio, because like I was living in Bangkok, Thailand at the time. And and so like we would get basically top 40 and mostly top 20 American songs like a couple times a week. You wouldn't hear American songs on the radio, you get a little bit, and then you get like somebody at school would have like a videotape of like 8 hours of MTV, and it was like
awesome.
gold, right?
Got it. Yeah.
So that was like where we heard American music. So it was a lot. It was really the more popular stuff. Like I just didn't have access to anything that wasn't, you know, really top 40, top 100, anything like that. So I sort of heard Purple Rain, and I liked it as like just as a kid who liked a song.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I sort of got older and was playing guitar a lot more, I was like, fucking Prince, like he's just a little, you know, whatever. He's just like, I just dismissed it because I didn't have the ear and I didn't really understand. And then I went to music school and I was like into like prog metal and all that shit. And I still hadn't checked back in. And then I was there was an article in probably Guitar for the Practicing Musician, something like that, where they asked all these guitar players, like, of anybody living or dead, who would you like to jam with? And fucking Steve Vai said Prince.
So that's what convinced you.
I should probably listen to Prince.
Right.
Yep.
So I went and I was like, with my like, now I've been to music school and I've been in bands and I understand. And I was like, oh my God, you know, and it just completely blew my mind. And so that was when I kind of checked back in and was just astonished, and I remain astonished. And then when he died, I was just devastated. Like, that was just awful.
Yeah.
That funny experience with Liam. We just finished that little Purple Rain, like guitar interpretation of Purple Rain, and we messed with it for maybe like a little bit about a year ago. And this little kid is the 12-year-old thrash metal, you know, like didn't want to have any part of it, right? And we revisited it, and now like he's like, oh, Gary Holt likes Prince, you know, I must like Prince,
right?
And he loved it and killed it. So same experience.
Yeah, there's a thing like
enough people that you respect say, hey, that dude's the fucking shit,
right?
Then you start listening a little bit better,
right? Yeah, exactly.
And it's amazing.
The Beatles are the same way. Like you know, you sort of you get overloaded with that, like, oh, classic rock, oh, Zeppelin, oh, the Beatles, like, and you're just like, fuck that, I know better, you know, as a kid. You have that like attitude. And then you kind of get older and you get into it and you're like, oh, damn it, they were right. The Beatles did everything.
Kicking rocks, totally.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like, and I haven't been a huge Beatles fan either. It's the same thing as like Rush and everything else in Zeppelin. Like I respect them for who they are and what they did for music, but it's been a tough sell with Liam to do Beatles stuff.
Helter Skelter is the first metal song.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
The White Album was
the
great.
First metal song. They absolutely did. Like,
talking about my mom's vinyl collection, I have the White Album on vinyl.
I mean,
great
you
album.
listen to it, like I saw Zombie and Manson touring. They came through and played at White River like 2 years ago for whatever it was.
I want to say I was at that show.
Were you at that show? They closed Helter Skelter together.
Who else played with them? Was it Deftones?
I don't think it was Deftones.
Was it like Smashing Pumpkins? I almost think it was like
I think it was STP and Bush.
Oh,
was it that year?
Maybe.
Wow.
That would have been a little bit longer back though, right?
Maybe. I mean, it was might have been STP with the new guy. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was the guy from Korn, right? Or Linkin Park?
Maybe. I'm like, you're gonna publish this and somebody's gonna show up and punch me in the dick for not remembering.
We're not gonna hold it against you. There's no
they close with Helter Skelter. Like, it's just the best metal, like it's the best closing song. We've been closing with it for 20 years because there is no better song than that, you know? Right. It just it rocks, it moves, it's got dynamic, it's got dissonance and consonance and groove and space. It's everything. It's got a guitar solo, it's got two guitar solos. Great.
There we go. Sold.
Dan, do you know Steve Bergstrom? He plays in Dapper Jones and the Finger Guns now.
I think maybe. I don't know.
He's going to be on in a couple episodes, but he is one of the funniest fucking people in the world. His band, they were playing, they went on second. Eve Clark's band opened.
Trip the Wire?
Yeah, Trip the Wire. They played at Daryl's Tavern a couple weeks ago. And Steve's band didn't get a sound check. So they did like a tune-up song to kind of kick off, and they played a fucking punk rock version of that 877 Cars for Kids song.
Oh Jesus.
And it was hilarious. He just 8675 Cars for Kids, 867, and just
That's amazing.
it was the funniest thing. I was having a conversation, and then all of a sudden you're just kind of going, you kind of do that Scooby-Doo thing where you go,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you realize
your ears like,
what the fuck?
everybody immediately, like I almost fell over. I was laughing so hard, and he sold it.
That's brilliant.
In the course of me knowing Steve, they used to close with "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow," and
Yeah.
Steve would go behind the amp and come back out in the red dress,
Oh geez.
and it's freaking kills every single time.
I love those. I love when you take a song and we did at about Porn Jam, right? Charity thing. We did The Last Unicorn. We did a Dio heavy version of The Last Unicorn.
Oh,
When cool. The last unicorn over the last lonely mountain, like this,
I saw Jay.
An America song, right? It was originally by America. That was great.
Yes.
That was super
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, Jay. In fact, Jay was there, and Jay and I hung out for.
Oh yeah, Jay was totally there. Yeah, Jay was totally. I love those. There's a collection called Punk Goes Pop.
Yes.
Which is kind of a stupid, because it's not really punk.
Yeah, it's not.
More like metalcore kind of bands, like that. And some of those are really good. Yeah. Like some of the Taylor Swift covers are actually like the metalized arrangements of them are great.
I heard a punk version of the Partridge Family theme, which I thought was hilarious. Somebody did and when you can sell it, it's great. And when it comes out of nowhere,
right?
It's like, this is really overdue for kind of sending it on its ass.
Yeah, and the conviction is important. Like you gotta be all in, or it doesn't work.
or nothing.
It's pandering. Otherwise,
exactly.
You gotta sell it.
You gotta mean that shit.
Oh, it's That's
and
there's a couple of bands that can do that. And we're so lucky that like we live in the Seattle area but you're in LA now, right?
No, I'm in Silicon Valley. I'm in Mountain View.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm in LA a lot, but
I'm
coming back to Seattle tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow.
We got it. Yeah. Let's get together while you're here
for Christmas.
Yeah, I'm doing a couple different. We're doing a couple different things. Are you
guys planning?
I probably shouldn't say this on a thing that like is going to be public, but we have a tradition where we go to strip clubs on Christmas. So if you'd like to come,
you not a bad tradition.
You got to stuff a stocking, and it's the gift the gift that keeps on giving.
That's right.
What I'm gonna say.
So we meet at the Central about 8:00 on Christmas night, and then a bunch of us, we just go to whatever strip clubs are open, and
nice.
They're empty and there's nobody there. And
you wear a mistletoe belt.
What's that?
You wear a mistletoe belt.
Exactly. Exactly. You wear it backwards.
Good luck finding a good one in Seattle anymore. I think they're all
gone. But that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you're going to see the dirty of the dirty if you go downtown.
For the win.
You meet at the Central.
It's like looking for the prettiest Denny's waitress.
Yeah, it's horrible.
You don't go. But I mean, it's really more about. It's really
It's about the camaraderie, and it's about hanging out with your friends. Yeah.
Exactly. And the more women that we get to go, because like we there's always women that come with us.
Yeah.
They love it. Like they always have fun.
So, yeah. Isn't that amazing?
You always get more attention when you come with the chicks, dude.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good times. Anyway, so you're certainly invited. You guys are both invited.
Yeah.
I think my wife might take offense to that.
I digress. Yeah.
This time, yeah.
Anyway,
oh man.
Back to the music.
Yeah, no, and that's funny too, because like it was Christmas, Jason. I took Jason to his first strip club at Christmas.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but that's the story that could have popped in my head. I remember it well.
He was like 15,
Yep.
And I convinced the door that he was 18 and he had a skin condition.
I do remember that.
It was like we were having Christmas out at his mom's house, and my mom I had taken him with me, and I told his mom we were going to my mom's, and I told my mom we were going to his mom's, and we're just like, let's just fuck off and go hang out. And he's like, oh yeah. So we did, and yeah, and we hit,
Which one did you go to?
I think it was Deja Vu in Lake City.
Oh right. Yeah, I remember that one.
Lake City was solid for the
yeah.
city bars, man.
Yep.
That's when you lived in Redmond, huh, Butchie? In the apartment?
I think so.
Yep.
I think so. It was a quick jaunt. Yeah, there was there was one in Bellevue over by what used to be the Saratoga Trunk.
Yep. Yeah.
Remember that place?
It closed right before I moved up there.
Yeah.
Like it closed in like 99 or 2000 or something.
Yeah.
There
was, man.
I heard stories about it, but I was never there. I never saw it.
Yeah. For the longest time though, Lake City was the spot to go.
Yeah.
Between Rick's and Deja Vu.
Yeah. Rick's. Oh.
I lived right by Dick's Drive-In in Lake City, and yeah, I can't even begin to tell you the debauchery that happened at both of those places.
Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
This is a public forum, and we will say no more.
True. Yeah, just throw it all out there, man.
Yeah. Nothing happened.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Meanwhile, back at the guitars.
The guitars, right. Yeah, that's where we would go get our guitars set up.
Right. Yes.
Exactly.
Rick's guitar setup.
That's right.
And pornography.
In the parking lot.
I imagine the two go hand in hand at some point, though, correct?
Yeah.
Hand in something.
In something, indeed.
I think a few of the bands I played in, the lead singer inevitably was living with a stripper who paid.
Wait, a guy in a rock band was dating a stripper?
Right.
Weird.
And but like no job, she'd pay for everything, and he was still a scumbag. And I'm just like,
Yeah, where do I sign up for that shit?
Yeah,
right.
That's a sweetheart right there.
That's a deal. Yeah, and she's like buying him guitars, and I'm like, he doesn't even play guitar. He's like, yeah, but he said he wanted to write a song for me, and I'm just like, wow, isn't that that's such a stereotype.
Such a stereotype, like such a cliche. It's a cliche for a reason. I mean,
no doubt.
I think what's the legend? Like Every Rose Has Its Thorn was written about a stripper.
Yeah.
Like all those big, huge 80s like ballads were written about strippers. Like that's the thing. The Warrant one, Heaven, I think.
Yeah.
The Great White one, like all of those big
all of them.
Yeah.
And they always end up marrying them for like a heartbeat.
Oh God. There's a great series, and I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what the name of the series was, but it was Interviews with Warrant.
Oh geez.
And it was the two guys now. It was like 2 years ago.
It's the one guitar player and the bass player.
And the bass player.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like the whole story. And I think it's Jerry Dixon who's the bass player.
Yeah.
And he's one of them. I don't remember which one. One of them is like, oh, well, he talks about like, how did you guys maintain the band this whole time? And how did you do this? Where do you guys, the interviewer was asking him, and he's like, well, I never got married. So, and the other guy's like, yeah. He's like,
yeah, he's like, I got married and then I stopped playing and sold insurance for like 10 years.
He did IT. Exactly. That dude did IT.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He was
IT. And he was working in LA like in 97 or something. And this friend of mine comes home from work one day and comes over he was a friend of my uncle's. And he's like, the guy from Warrant, one of the guys from Warrant is selling one of their drum kits. And I was like, what are you talking? He's like, he works with me at work. Like he used to be in Warrant, and he's selling one of their drum kits, and he shows me, it's like the huge fucking touring arena drum kit with the racks and the whole thing.
Oh my God.
I was like, are you serious? It's like 97. Nobody gave a shit about Warrant in 97.
Yeah. No.
Gotta get paid somehow.
Yeah, man.
And he wasn't the drummer.
He wasn't the drummer. No, he was
the drummer. And it's like
scoring it or something.
There's a story there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a story there. It's like, how many times have we heard, yeah, dude, you got to get this shit out of my garage.
Right.
Yeah. It's like 4 road cases and, 4 road cases full of like the lighting rig. And, and it's like nothing fun or sexy. There's no, like, it's not the guitar rack. It's not, it's not the Marshall stack. It's the lighting rig and the power amps for the PA.
Right, right. Because all the good shit got sold for weed money.
Exactly.
Years ago.
Yeah. Right. Or absconded with by the bus driver.
Yep.
It's like, oh yeah, no, I'll drop it off at the storage space on my way to take the rig back. Yeah. Where'd that go? Oh, I thought you had it.
Yep.
Oh my God. So you've played with you guys played with Red Dragon Cartel, and I think you guys did a show with Michael Schenker as well, didn't you?
Oh God. Like in 2001, maybe 2002, I think.
You guys played with him in, I want to say you guys played with him in Tacoma. Because it
was the Ballard Firehouse.
Nice.
Oh, you're okay.
It was the Ballard Firehouse.
I saw you guys with Red Dragon. I saw you guys with, and I saw Sean's band and Tony Delicio's band, Mechanism. They played with Michael Schenker in Tacoma.
Okay.
And Tony's another one that I want to get on the show because he's got some amazing stories as well.
Yeah.
And he's
the show that we just did like in September was with the Aristocrats.
Yeah. I saw that.
I want to hear about that because
that was insane.
Guthrie
Congratulations, man. That was awesome.
That was awful. That was the scariest thing I've ever done.
I bet it was.
That was the worst.
I bet
that
it was
the scariest. Like, and I was promised. So just for my sister, who's the singer in the band, is dating the bass player in the Aristocrats, right? So, Brian Beller.
And really? I got his solo album. My brother gave me his solo CD, and it's really good.
The new one, the double album. Yeah,
it's a double CD. It's very atmospheric.
Yeah.
But it's also got
people on that record. You look at the names of the people on that record, and there's everyone on that record is a monster player.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So his Brian's best friend is a guy named Joe Travers, who is a drummer. Berkeley, they're both Berkeley guys. Joe is absolutely the fact that Joe isn't revered in every drummer magazine is a crime. Joe is the best drummer I've ever even been in a room with. Joe's astonishing. So we did some recordings with them as our rhythm section. So we have LSD with Brian and Joe as our rhythm section. We have 5 songs, I think it's 5 songs, kind of ready to go, just waiting on me to finish my guitar parts. And then Lizzie's got to put her vocals on it. But anyway, so there's a connection there. So, so we wanted to perform those songs with, and the Aristocrats happened to be coming to Seattle, and the venue was like, you guys need an opener, but they were touring without an opener. They were doing like an evening with, and it was just them.
Okay.
And so they were like, do you guys want to open? I mean, there's sort of, so we got to open, but we don't live there anymore. I mean, my sister and I, she's in LA and I'm here in Mountain View. And we haven't played since December of 2019 because of the pandemic.
Right.
So we had to like take a week off work, drive to Seattle with all the gear and the merch because it was in LA.
Yeah.
Drive up there, spend a week rehearsing because we hadn't played, and we wanted to do these new songs, and then get up on stage in front of the most discerning musician audience that you can imagine, right? It's
like
the
going to a
Aristocrats. Like,
Satriani
who
show.
goes to see
Yeah.
the Aristocrats? It's
Right.
music nerds.
Yeah.
So it was but the other part of it was I was like, Guthrie's gonna be there. Like Guthrie to me is the best guitar player around.
He's scary. He's like terrifyingly good.
Like I love David Gilmour. I mean, David Gilmour is my favorite.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. I don't think we're capable of understanding how good Guthrie is just at a talent level.
Yeah.
Like he's so far beyond everybody else, you know? And like you watch there's video of like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani like looking at Guthrie, you know, playing on stage with him and looking at him and just being like, I don't fucking know what he's doing, you know, like he's so amazing.
I first heard of Guthrie Govan when he was like 16 years old, and he was doing the transcriptions for Guitarist magazine, this British guitar magazine.
Yeah.
And he would do the videos and the DVD. And you'd hear him in this little kid voice. And then all of a sudden he grew up into this mad scientist guitar guy that makes Steve Vai look like a homeless. I mean, he like, yeah.
We just don't understand how good he is. Like we're not really capable of understanding how good he is.
His ability slow him down and stare at his hands and still go, I got nothing.
No idea.
Yeah.
Like he can play Sean Lane. Like he can just play Sean Lane licks, which nobody can do. But he can just do that, and he can do everything else. Like it's astonishing. And I revere him, and I've gotten through Brian. I've gotten to hang out with him a couple times and like be backstage and like talk to him, and I'm not good at that. Like I fall apart with guys like that. Like I come apart. Like I don't care about the Kardashians or fucking actors or whatever. I don't. But guys with that level of talent, like I just dissipate into saying dumb shit, and like I'm not good at it.
Did you go all fanboy?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh,
like,
of course.
When I go to NAMM, like I go to the NAMM show, and like I walk around, and like the band is always like, yeah, Dan's he's gonna be an idiot.
He's gonna,
and they just like they're fine. My sister's great at it. She's met so many of my heroes now through Brian.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the thing that Brian was like, no, that they're not going to be there. Like the Guthrie and Marco aren't going to come. They'll come in the intermission between bands while they're setting up. They'll come from the hotel. And so Guthrie. So I was like, okay, cool. I don't have to play with Guthrie in the building. So fine, good, great, right? So Brian wanted to guest. Well, we wanted to guest. He wanted to play one of our songs with us. And so we did, and not one of the songs that he recorded with us, but one of the songs that we had previously recorded, a song called "Curse Your Name," which we did. We did a record in 2019. Well, we did this record that was with an orchestra, and we were set to release it on March 23rd, 2020.
Yeah.
And if anybody can recall what happened on March 12th, 2020, you can imagine what happened to our CD release party. We had the whiskey, we booked the whiskey, we had press coming, we had like were gonna it was an absolute catastrophe. So anyway, so Brian wanted to play the song "Curse Your Name." So he had his rig on stage, so he comes out and he's playing and I'm playing. And Guthrie and Marco walk up to the edge of the stage. They're like in the little corner at the top of the stairs watching the band. So now I'm playing guitar in front of Guthrie Govan. And all my hands just stop working.
Was it the Hello Kitty guitar?
What's that?
Was it the Hello Kitty guitar?
No, I didn't. I had it on stage.
Okay.
But like it's a terrible guitar. It's not a good guitar.
But it's a trademark too. I mean, it's like that comes out for, and it's the amazing thing. So Jay, he plays with a Hello Kitty Fender Squire.
I think I've seen videos of it, man.
I have it.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is, yeah, you're right.
Oh, you got to pull it out now.
But the fact that he can tear it up on a subpar guitar like that,
yeah,
just speaks volumes to his ability. It's like seeing Satriani play on a beat to shit Japanese import. That is right. Yeah. And how many people have signed that? You've got Nuno.
I don't actually remember. That's Guthrie's signature.
Okay.
So he signed it years and years ago.
Yeah. Didn't Nuno sign it in the back?
No, I've never gotten Nuno to sign it. Oh. I met him, but I couldn't take it into NAMM with me.
Oh, okay.
So that's Russ Parrish from Steel Panther.
Yeah.
Satchel, but he was teaching at GIT when I was there.
Okay.
And he's astonishing.
I was going to ask who was teaching while you were there.
Yeah, Russ Parrish
had already left.
Gilbert, but he came back a lot. He was doing Mr. Big, but he came back like twice while I was there and did clinics and stuff.
Oh, very cool.
So I saw him a couple times.
Okay.
That's Lynch. George Lynch signed it. Yeah, George Lynch signed it twice.
Nice.
Because he signed it once here, and then my buddy Jay was gonna seal it and just put too much like sealant, and it melted.
Yeah.
So then he signed it again.
I
saw him like 3 years later, and he signed it again.
Oh, that's cool.
Vernon Reed signed it, but it came off.
Very cool.
Larry Mitchell signed it here. I honestly don't remember who that is. That one.
Vernon Reed and I follow each other on Twitter, so I'm hoping to get him on.
Oh, no shit. Awesome.
So
yeah, he was like, I randomly stood next to him at NAMM for one of Larry Mitchell's performances. Like I just was standing there, and I looked over, and Vernon Reed standing right next to me, and I'm a huge Living Color guy.
Yeah, man.
And I wigged. There's a picture of it, of that moment. My sister took a picture of me, and then my face is just like I just wigged out. I was not.
I love Living Color. I had the album, and then they played 2 songs on Saturday Night Live and just blew the roof off the place. Both versions. They did Cult of Personality and Open Letter to a Landlord.
Oh yeah.
Both of those songs were 10 times better than the recording.
Yeah.
Just because of the level of mojo they put into it. Yeah.
Like that's the thing, conviction. Like that's what comes across on that record. Like that's what's, that's what a lot of stuff is missing. Like you gotta mean that shit, man. And they meant every word of that first record. I mean, all of it, but that first record. My favorite song on that record actually is Desperate People.
I
love that.
I love Glamour Boys because I thought that just that rhythm strum that he had was just and watching him the way he held the pick and he played his solo, he'd crank his arm down.
Oh, he does that Marty Friedman thing.
That tremolo picking.
The weird claw. Yeah.
It was like, and I tried to emulate that for a while, and that's the only way I could play really fast. And now I've gotten better at it, to play almost like Eddie style with the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the trick.
Too.
Turn the pick sideways so that it's almost perpendicular to the string.
Right.
I do that, but I do it this way.
Oh, okay.
I do it this way. So I go up and down. I go up and down that way, so that it is the edge of the pick.
Yeah.
But it's turned that way instead of this way.
Have you ever looked at your pick after playing with the same one for a while and see how it wears?
Oh, absolutely.
It's
awesome out.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So talking about Steel Panther, have you heard the new Steel Panther?
Just the one song.
So that 1987 tune, you talk about nostalgia and like what you got into, fucking hilarious, man.
Oh God. The what's the first?
They talk about George Lynch and Dawkins and
I know.
Dave and Eddie are getting back together, and Poison looks so good. I thought that I was gay. Hilarious, dude.
there was a hilarious meme, and I think I probably posted it on Facebook, and it was the Poison album, the first Poison album cover.
Look
And
what
it said, I used to jerk off to these guys for like a year and a half before I realized they were dudes. And then for another 4 months.
Yep. That's awesome. Oh yeah.
It was like,
I love it.
yeah. And then for like another 4 months.
The thing about the first Steel Panther record, the first big Steel, like they did a couple songs before that first Steel Panther record, but that they I don't know why they stopped doing this, but the music was like you could directly associate each one of those songs with almost like a Weird Al parody.
Yeah,
sure.
Like the music was kind of a direct. They would quote kind of other stuff, like the ballad. He does the bass fill from every Rose Has a Thorn. He does that doo 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 doo.
Yeah.
And like they stopped doing that kind of shit, and they kind of lost me because I love that like direct tribute stuff. Like take the style, and then write a song in that style of the hit, you know.
Right.
And that first record has so many of those, and they're so good. Like you can directly point, like that's making fun of Bon Jovi, and that's making fun of Poison, and that's Warrant, and that, you know.
Yeah, and Russ Parrish is like of that level. He is at the George Lynch level.
Oh, absolutely.
He could play. You know, I mean, he was in a band called The Electric Fence with Paul Gilbert when I was at MI. And he was like the rhythm guitar player, and he got solos with Gilbert, and he would absolutely keep up with Paul Gilbert, and he was like 19, 20 years old. He was young.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just like his thing that I kind of stole from him was his hybrid picking. Like he did this crazy hybrid picking.
Yeah.
And that became like everybody was doing 8-finger when I was at MI, like it. You know, a couple years before it was all sweep picking, and then it was like extended finger, like big wide space, like sweep picking stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I was there, it was everybody was into this hybrid picking thing, and Russ Parrish was teaching hybrid picking stuff, and that's what I got really into. It was a way to skip strings and play arpeggios and shit like that. And so like I really, really practiced that a lot. That was one of the things, and watched how he could do it. And I never got as good at it as he was, but that was my sort of that's what I stole from Russ Parrish. And it was big influence on me, really.
Yeah.
In terms of technique, for sure. He's a monster.
They were talking about COVID too. They were supposed to come last year and play, I forgot what casino, but they ended up canceling it because of Omicron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And actually my girlfriend, Satchel's on Cameo. She wrote Satchel and was like, my boyfriend's really sad, we can't come to the show. And he sent me a whole Cameo, and it's just 5 minutes of fucking craziness. This dude just keeps going and going and
playing.
He was playing a tune, right? Just like a 3-chord progression or whatever.
Okay.
It comes out of his mug, you know, it's just hilarious. Talks about his mom don't do all the coke, mom, you know. Just funny shit, man.
That's great.
I have the link. It's
that'd be amazing. That'd be
hilarious.
amazing.
Yeah. We saw you at one of the Stanhope shows too, didn't we, Dan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's coming back early next year, I think.
Is he?
Yeah. So I was friends with him for quite a while, and I had when I was working at Real Networks, I was the test lead for the Real Player, and I was always looking for content to test with. Mm-hmm. And one of the websites had a bunch of audio clips of comedians, and Stanhope was one of them, and it was like his first 2 albums.
Oh God.
And it was hilarious. I was absolutely blown away. And then
the tit fuck joke.
I looked up on the website, and he was coming to town. So I emailed him just out of the blue. I said, hey man, I got tickets to your show at Comedy Underground, and I'm going to be there with my girlfriend. And it would be really funny if you picked me out from the crowd and said, hey man, is that Carl? God, I haven't seen you since that whorehouse in Chicago, man, whatever, didn't you get arrested? And just see what just see what she does. And so we're sitting there and he comes walking in, and the show hasn't started yet. We're in the cafe part, and he just sees me and walks over and sits down and puts his arm around my wife, like she's my wife now, you know. Puts his arm around. He's like, did this fucker ever tell you that what you know?
Oh my God.
And it was hilarious. And you know, we went to like every show for the next 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
I saw you at the show at Studio 7, and then at the one and it was either at, I think it was at the theater, the one of the, it wasn't the Paramount, it's the other one.
the Moore, or
was it the Moore, or I think it was the Moore. I think it was the Moore. Yeah.
because his crowds have gotten bigger, which is awesome. I love to see him succeeding. But his work ethic is questionable at best.
I was just gonna say he's slowed down a ton
He has
of late, anyway.
Yeah, and
he, you know, I listened to his podcast religiously for about 2 years. Like anytime anything came out, I was listening to it. I listened to his whole, like, when he would go and live in the trailer for 30 days and clean up, and you know, like I was in his whole thing in Bisbee, Arizona, and like 4 or 5 years ago, like Jay and I had plans to like drive down to Bisbee and go, because he's like, if you're in Bisbee, call me up.
The
like,
party,
show up.
Yeah, the barbecue.
Yeah, totally.
Week-long barbecue.
Yeah. And like, he's like, I'll buy you a beer. Like, just let me know you're here if you make it to Bisbee, Arizona. So Jay and I were going to like road trip to Bisbee and like just go hang out with Doug, but at least have a beer with him, you know, just to have that experience. But I don't know, work or something.
Yeah. Always something.
Always something.
Damn.
But yeah, he's awesome. I didn't know he was coming back. I haven't seen his last special. I don't think I've seen the most recent one.
I missed the last couple of them. You talk about his first couple albums. Was No Reservations one of the first couple ones? Like that was like later on.
That was like the fourth one.
Was it?
The first one was
that was the first one that got on HBO, and
the first one was I can't remember what the first one's name was, and then the second one was The Great White Stanhope, and then Sicko.
Sicko was brilliant.
Sicko was hilarious. The fucking Doug Flutie. I'm Doug Flutie with the United Way. You know, this is my boy Wacky. He's born without bones. I mean, just like he really just had no fucks to give.
No, that's his gift.
Yeah. And like the guy, there was no political correctness. And I would love to see him, you know, what was it? It's almost that Carlin-esque level of I dare you. I dare you to get pissed. I dare you to get offended.
Yep.
Dude, he crosses the line a ton.
Yep.
A ton. And you talk about heart and like sending it, that dude just lays it down. You're like, holy fuck, he's completely right.
Yeah.
He did a whole thing about killing his mom.
Yeah.
Like, that was amazing. That was one of the coolest. That was one of the bravest.
Just unapologetic truths.
Just absolutely like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
I don't care.
She's been dying for 30 years. And you know, it's just like finally she's just ready. And you know what? Yeah, he's like, anybody against doctor-assisted suicide needs to work a graveyard shift at a nursing home and tell me that life is precious. You know, and you know, it's like, and it is, there is a humanity to that, you know. Nobody
absolutely. And the way whatever she wanted, man, whatever she wanted, he got her.
Yeah.
And he took care of her, and whatever she wanted to do. And I thought that was, and his take on it, you know, obviously, like his take is like it was all about her, and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant. I thought, you know, that was one of the most sort of poignant comedy bits I've ever heard.
No doubt.
You know, absolutely brilliant.
Like, as a staple.
Yeah. Absolutely love him.
Yeah.
And
him and Patton. Like, I love Patton Oswalt. God, he's brilliant.
Yeah. Have you the bit about you're only allowed 10 birthdays?
Oh, that birthday thing is so
good. Birthdays is brilliant. You know, 1 to 5, a birthday every year. You know? And then when you hit 10, then you get a birthday at 16. You can drive.
Right.
Big birthday.
18, you go to the military. 21, you can drink.
Yep. And then
after 21,
it
30,
every 10 years.
every 10 years.
And then if you make it to 90,
Right.
every year you get a birthday and one law no longer applies to you. You know?
You make it to 100, you can kill a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Patton Oswalt.
But do you remember
He ended up
this
marrying-
thing about 80s metal?
Yeah.
This
Really?
thing about 80s metal and it's a bunch of guys bareback rubbing shoulders and a chick in lingerie like miles away from the band.
Yeah, and they're like in a factory that just manufactures sparks.
That's such a great line.
And they are just rocking out.
Yep.
And then there's like chicks miles away from the band.
And like if you go back, like I did this like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when I was up in Seattle. We just like we put on Giant, you know, the band Giant.
Yeah.
So I mean, Giant's amazing. Giant's
Dan
an
Huff.
amazing band. Dan Huff is fucking astonishing.
Yes.
But they are of that era that missed the memo that shit was over. Right?
Yeah.
That record came out in 92.
Yeah.
And we're done at that
Gone.
point. Like Nirvana's, it's been a year. Like we're done. Like there's too much hairspray in this video for this, right? So I liked it. But anyway.
Yeah.
So we put that on, and then the YouTube feed started like giving us that era, which is my favorite era of bands that didn't get the fucking memo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love those bands.
21 Guns.
21 Guns, Roxy Blue.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
House of Lords.
House of Lords. Oh God.
Yeah.
There's some House of Lords. So House of Lords is Greg Giuffria. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah, Giuffria.
Giuffria.
Yeah. He's
so
like
we saw like a Giuffria video from like 1984 came up. And oh my God, that video is terrible. Like
it's
the
cringy.
music sucks, the video sucks. Like it's so astonishing how committed they are to this, like that idea. And there's just speakers everywhere and hairspray, and it's just so bad.
And the silk. The amount of
the blouse
shirts
and the keyboards,
blouses, and the
keyboards,
hair helmet. Oh, it's a glorious thing.
It is. It's a glorious thing. I mean, the thing is, like,
it's coming back, man. Swear to God.
Well, not for us.
Well,
I mean, not for me. Not for me. You guys still have it.
We can pull it off.
You guys can still pull it off. I
got the only 12-year-old in 7th grade that knows every guitarist from every hair metal band that ever existed. So
yes,
and
you just gotta treat them right, yeah.
But that's the thing. Like that's the thing that gets obscured by that whole thing is that they could play.
Yeah,
you know, most of those guys could really play.
Sure.
And like they had dumb haircuts, but they could play.
No doubt.
I think what killed it was the record companies decided like like Guns N' Roses became huge, and the record company says we need a Guns N' Roses, so we're going to give you, you know, here's the band Junkyard, and here's this band shit, I can't even remember their name, but like a Guns N' Roses imitation band, you know, and you could kind of argue that Warrant was like a Poison imitation band.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so
all day long.
and like what was it? The one that was like Cinderella,
Brittany Fox.
Brittany Fox.
There you go.
And so, you know, they have like it just kind of got to that point where it's like there's nobody original. Now we're just replicating what was a hit.
Right.
And they'll have like one song that sounds good, and then, you know, and
it's like, usually the ballad.
And it's usually the ballad to sell to the high school girls. And then they're gonna go on tour. It's like
we opened for Enough's Enough, Brittany Fox, and Bullet Boys. at El Corazon.
And see, I love Enough's Enough. They have
Enough's Enough got lumped in because they teased their hair. Like they were a great band.
But they have like 12 really good albums.
Oh, I didn't know they had that many.
They have the album 7 and album 10 are amazing.
Really?
Yeah. Animals with Human Intelligence is a great album.
I'm sure.
You know, I mean, they're a fantastic band. They have like hard rock with Beatles harmonies.
That was their thing. And Beatles chord progressions, like cool chord progressions.
And they not only that, but they know every single Beatles song. They'll just like bust them out they do a version of Jealous Guy by Lennon on the 7th album. They do like I have demos and bootlegs of them playing Hide Your Love Away and Rocky Raccoon and A Day in the Life just on a radio show where they're just like, oh, you're gonna play some Beatles? Oh yeah, let's just do this one. And they launch into Day Tripper on a whim. And
so you're an Enough's Enough guy.
I am. I love them. I think
that's
they're
awesome.
fantastic.
That's awesome. They're great.
Yeah.
They're great. Yeah.
I remember them, but not a ton. Nothing stands out to me.
Yeah.
They
got unfairly lumped in with the hair bands.
Well, yeah, they were one of many, right?
Yeah. You know,
and I mean, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say sometimes the image trumps substance,
right?
And whether it's justified or not, you know, I mean, for all the shit that Winger takes,
I know
Kip Winger is a great player, and Reb Beach is a monster player.
Everybody in that band,
Rod Morgenstein played with Dixie Dregs.
Yeah, Morgenstein's a monster, and Reb Beach is a monster.
And
I mean, White Lion is the other one. Like White Lion.
White Lion. I mean, God, I wish Vito Bratta would pull a Jake E. Lee and just come back and put a new band together and go out and just kick ass.
Yeah,
I would wait on my hands and knees.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. See?
Well done.
So the way music is now, and you know, the record companies have kind of been, you know, at least in my view, kind of put to the side. Does that change the way that music obviously is? There's a lot less carbon copies of other bands. It's more a bunch of kids that are inspired by a bunch of stuff, and then they kind of come up with their own sound.
Yeah, I think there's some of that. Yeah, go, Dan.
Well, I think
being somebody that's not in a band, and you guys are both. So, I mean, like I said,
well, I mean, first of all, nobody gives a shit about rock. Like nobody gives a shit.
No doubt.
There's no money in it, so nobody cares.
And
right.
You know, I mean, like that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from LA. Like it's such a small community.
Yeah,
because there's no money. Everybody's trying to do something else,
and they've cannibalized it too. Like these 24/7 deals or the 365s or whatever they call them.
Yeah,
where now it used to be the record company would front for the record and your touring would pay for the record, and the record sales would pay for the album, and you would make a little money off the tour and you'd get your merch. Now they're taking a chunk of the merch as well.
Well, this is something I didn't know about until a couple of years ago, was that a band can make a bunch of money because you get a merch deal where you get an advance from the merch company. And this is what happened to Warrant. This was really interesting. This is what happened to Warrant. This is why Warrant went bankrupt originally, because their merch company gave them like $2 million. But there was a hero clause in the contract that said, Janie Lane has to be the lead singer of the band or you owe us $2 million back. So Janie quit, and that meant that the band owed the merch
them that money,
$2 million back.
Oh my God.
So they went bankrupt, and they had to, that was the end of that, right? So there's merch deals on this stuff that I was like, oh, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So bands can make money that way too. But you have to, you make that, and then the merchandise company gets whatever they get, however the business of that works. But you get an advance from the merch company too that you can use. Anyway, but now you're right. Now the record companies are trying to take that too, the merch.
Yeah.
The merch.
Right. Because that's kind of where the money's at this point, right? Is the $40 a t-shirt, and you do the math.
Yeah.
Well, $40 a t-shirt is because the venue's taking a
Okay,
percentage.
yeah, I mean everybody gets their piece, but I mean it seems
Yeah.
like that's the chunk of the money, and from a layman's standpoint.
Yeah.
So
But
the venue's
gone are
getting
the
some, company's getting some, the band's getting fucked, you know.
yeah.
Of course.
And gone are the days when they'd sign a development deal. Look
Oh
at
yeah, no.
you know, nowadays if you don't have a platinum album on your first go, you're dropped. And
Well, and you gotta sell 10,000 units to even talk to anybody.
yeah,
Right.
You gotta sell today, like
Yeah.
10,000 records
before you have a
today.
record, yeah, or you've
Like-
got to have something recorded on Spotify and this many downloads.
Yeah, what does selling a record even mean today when you can just go on iTunes and I like that one song and that's
Right.
what I download? Like, what does that even mean at this point?
Yeah.
Right.
I love albums. I love a collection of songs that, if not tell a story, but at least have a common thread that kind of ties it all together. You know,
Yep.
like Springsteen, his first album did Dick, his second album did okay.
Mhm.
Third album, his third or fourth album was Born to Run, which is what kind of broke him.
Right.
But for the most part, his first love that. So yeah, Dan.
I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Speaking of
Late
which,
September Dogs is your band. And how many albums do you guys have?
no, 4.
Okay.
3?
And
I
can
mean,
you
we
still
have
get
an
'em?
EP that came out. We did an EP, and then we re-recorded the stuff that was on the EP on a record.
Yeah.
So Pretty Broken was 2010, and I think that's got a bunch of the stuff from the previous EP. So I don't really count that EP. So 3.
Okay.
Anything Be Beautiful, Pretty Broken, and this one.
Yeah.
Learning to Fall.
That's awesome.
But what I was gonna say is like you have to do this, and then you know there's a couple people that will buy vinyl, but that's really the only way to like sell stuff because it's kind of a novelty, right?
Yeah.
But like some people have record players, but not everybody has record players, so you're not gonna sell a lot of records, but it's cool, you know. I mean, it's like it's kind of cool.
I love the vinyl. I have a bunch framed throughout the.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like frame them. And then
Yeah, frame them. But you know, Cheap Trick, every time they release an album, they also release it on 8-track.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that they can say, we have the #1 selling
8-track in the country.
for any record they release. They release it on 8-track so they can say we have the #1 8-track.
That's amazing.
Isn't that hilarious?
Do they do cassettes too?
I think so.
Because you can do cassettes again. Like some factory started doing cassettes again.
Yeah, probably someplace in
Right. Estonia.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Kazakhstan is chunking out old Maxell cassettes.
This is a bunch of people with old boom boxes hitting, you know.
Oh yeah, or the dual cassette. Remember the old dual cassette?
Yeah, exactly. Just like hitting record at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But this was awful. This was an awful process. Like making vinyl sucks.
Where did you guys record it at?
We recorded it. Well, we recorded it like 3 times.
Okay.
So we did it. We did a live orchestra. Most of it was done in Uber Beats. We did some of it, which is in Mukilteo.
Okay.
It's Jesse Smith's place in Mukilteo.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's your place. You know Uber Eats, right? You know, yeah. Okay. I'm like, what am I telling you? Forget. You just finished recording in the room where we recorded this, like yesterday, right? You're right.
No, I haven't recorded there, but I know Jesse.
Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking.
No, it's.
I saw something on Facebook that was. I guess I got it confused. Anyway, we did this. Yeah. So we did it. There was a place called The Factory. We did original drum tracks. And then that didn't work out. And we did cello. So we did cello, we did a string section, a horn section, and a choir. And then we did the band, the full band. And then we did mixing forever, trying to get it mixed because it's impossible to mix something like that. And eventually we made friends with a guy named Chris Lord Alge.
Yes.
We may have heard of.
If
you know mixing engineers and Grammys, he's got 5 Grammys and he wound up mixing it. And he mixed it for free, which was kind of incredible because that was a big deal.
Yeah.
We got to fly down to LA and go and sit in the studio and listen to the mixes and hang out with him. And
Yeah, he looks like Professor Snape.
he does. Yeah, he was really cool to us.
He seems like the nicest guy in the world too.
He's a trip. He's hilarious. He's like from Jersey. He's just like, and he gives no shits. It was great. He was cool. Like, you know, he was just really, really kind of hung out with us, took us out to dinner. Like, you know, he was, and like we went to his house and like we walked into his house and it's just platinum records all over. I mean, he's 250 million records or something he's been involved in.
Yeah, he's
amazing. And we walked in and I'm standing, it's Jay and my sister, and then me and Jackie, who's our backup singer. Mm-hmm. And I grabbed Jackie's arm and I'm like, that's 5 Grammy Awards. And sitting on the piano with this big black piano is 5 Grammy Awards. Like Dusty, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I was just like, and just platinum records and 5 Grammy Awards. My brain just like
a little daunting, yeah.
Yeah, a little intimidating.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Oh,
and the studio, you know, his studio, he bought Death Row Records. He bought the studio that was Death Row Records, and that's where he does all of his mixing. And so that's where we were. That's where we went and mixed this record, or he did it. I mean, you know, obviously, but it was cool. It was really an incredible experience.
Nice.
And then, you know, the CD release party got COVID.
Yeah,
shut down. So I have many of these. I have many of these left.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's on Spotify and it's everywhere.
Yeah. I've got the download. Yeah, that's awesome.
It was a process. It was a process. I'm gonna hopefully we'll get at least an EP here fairly soon, next year or something.
Great. Was it hard to get the vinyl pressed?
Yeah, that's what I was. That's right.
That's what you were talking about.
Did
before,
you guys
right?
go through Levi?
It was a nightmare. No. I honestly don't remember what the name of the company was. But we got it. It was. Oh God, I can't believe I can't remember his name. It was mastered by. I can't believe I can't remember. I apologize. I'm gonna search this.
No, Google it. That's what it's for, man.
I know, right? This is just the. Oh yeah, Ted Jensen.
There you go.
So Ted Jensen mastered Hotel California.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
He mastered Ted Jensen is the guy. Like if you look up what he's done, it's just like, oh, he did everything, and he did that for free. Like Chris CLA asked him for a favor to master our record for free. So that organization down in Nashville suggested a record company or a record making service. So that's who we went with because they work with them. They just send it directly. They create the wax thing and they send it directly over and so that's how we did it. But it was months and months of like redesign and send back and forth and getting because the color on the record, on the label changes when you bake it.
Right.
Oh,
so you have to, if you want that color right, you have to like give it a different color and color match it to a different.
Yeah.
So like you have to redesign it and it didn't come out the right blue because we wanted it to match this blue. So because and then this is like you can't really see it on the thing, but the blue is glossy and the rest of it's matte. You can't see it.
Yeah.
It's the things, but we had, so we wanted glossy paint on just the blue. So that was an extra like month, and at the time, like, then there was that thing where one of the only vinyl pressing plants in the world burned down.
Yeah.
It was tough.
That?
Like,
yeah.
To get vinyl.
It was like,
right. Exactly. And so then they got swamped and everything, it was really a lot of work.
And the company was from Nashville, you said?
I don't think, no, they're in
in Jersey, weren't they?
No, I don't remember exactly where they were, but the Nashville was where the mastering, where Ted Jensen's place is.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But I can search. Let me search my email and find out what they were called. I honestly don't remember.
Well, I know. So I'm referencing like Jack Whitehouse, Third Man Records in Nashville.
Yeah.
So he still does his press. I don't know. I mean, he just presses his own stuff, and then whoever's on his label, but still has one of, the last original presses.
I was lucky enough to meet and hang out with. Do you know who Levi Seitz is? He owns Black Belt Mastering.
Okay.
But he has 2 antique vinyl lathes.
Oh, nice.
And I got to be friends with him. Our kids went to school together.
Oh, wow.
And so at like one of the kid functions, school functions, he and I were chatting, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you do this? Oh, I do this." And I built him a guitar, and
oh shit.
We hung out. Yeah, we hung out, and I hung out in his studio for a couple of days, and he just relocated. He was like a block away from me. Now he lives up in Everett, but he's got an amazing studio. He did like remasters of some Pearl Jam stuff. He remastered the Mother Love Bone stuff. He's remastered like I think I want to say U2 and some other like heavy hitters. He did the Soundgarden remasters and and like pressing them to vinyl, special edition stuff.
Very cool.
Really, really good guy, and just amazing technician as well.
Yeah.
Did you get to go to the studio?
Oh yeah. He has some like custom made mastering gear. He has like these beautiful compressors, and he's got, I am such a gear junkie. I look at these things and I'm like, oh, $4,000 for a compressor. I'm like, I can't justify that.
Compressors are the devil. Like you can't, like the difference is like, once you can hear the difference, you're fucked.
Right.
Like, you're fucked. Your wallet is like, don't learn how good compressors sound, because then you can't unhear it.
Right.
And I have like once you hear what a tube compressor is, or 1176, or once you can distinguish, it's over. It's over.
A Neve lunchbox or a universal audio. I've got a Joe Meek channel strip, and I have an old Symmetrics compressor that I love.
The Symmetrics
fine for me. And the Symmetrics came out of Jack Endino's studio.
Oh yeah.
So when I was at Real, I worked with Daniel House, who was the bass player for Skin Yard, and Jack.
Oh wow.
Jack was the guitar player.
Sure.
Yeah, and again, Jack is like really, really nice guy. Sat on one of Daniel's trips back to town. We had dinner together, and we all sat around and just, nicest guy in the world. And I love Daniel. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That is the problem with good recording gear, is that, it's a path. It's a life choice.
It's an expansive path. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you can get away with recording shit on your phone. Like, just do that, because once you start down that path, forever will it dominate your destiny, man.
No doubt.
As you can see, I've kind of rabbit holed myself into guitars.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's just like the often playeds. There's still a closet full.
A closet full.
30 or 40.
And I only have 6 now.
I've got 50. And then I've got a couple. I've got a couple at Jason's house. And, you've got like 5 or 6.
Yep.
And
it's an addiction.
We had a remodel. We did a kitchen remodel, and we moved out of the house for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And we got a new kitchen. I got to expand the wood shop back another 15 feet.
Nice.
And rebuilt the basement and everything. And while I was doing that, I told Jason, I said, hey, can I just leave like 15 or 20 guitars at your place? And Liam's eyes lit up, and he's like, yes, please.
Yeah, you can.
So I'm like, here's a couple amps and here's a whole bunch of guitars. Just go
Yeah.
crazy and have fun. And
He only got some of them back, Dan. I'm here to tell you. There's still some
I
that
would
live here.
have absolutely. That's what happens. Absolutely.
and I'm convincing myself that I don't miss them, and I'm convincing myself that, you know what, I'm okay with that. The kid is on his way, and as far as I'm concerned, you can never have too many guitars. So
they're in good hands, man. He loves every one of them.
good.
He really does.
Well, let me. I'll ask this question in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get my guitars, like I was at the 13 or 14 at one point.
Okay.
I get my guitars made by Darren Ross, Ross Guitars, and like the problem is I have 3 from him, and they do everything I need. Like, I want more guitars, but like I go on Reverb and I'm like, I could get one of these and I could get one of these, but like I sit down and like I'm like, there's nothing that I can get from these guitars that I don't already have. Like,
no doubt.
That's the thing. And I love, like, that. I have to show you.
Try to critically think that, right? But then the kid's
right.
like, well, I don't want to have to retune this guitar, Dad. So, I need this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, buddy.
Yeah. I keep telling him he needs a Floyd. He needs something with a Floyd, with the way he plays.
Well, between me, you, and the wall, that's what he's getting for Christmas is a JS Ibanez.
That's beautiful.
Oh, nice. But like,
super pretty, man.
Look at that thing. Like, that's a body shape. Darren and I kind of came up with a body shape. I wanted a single cut. But I wanted it to look like it was moving forward, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want it to just be, because I hate guitars with big asses.
Yeah.
I hate when this is like on a Les Paul. I don't like Les Pauls. I just don't like them. And
I love how they sound. I'm not in love with the shape. Never have.
And the balance is off, and they're just heavy, and I just don't.
They're
like
pigs.
Them. Yeah. But they sound great. Like I've tracked with them, and they sound great. But like this thing, right?
Gorgeous.
The carving on that is gorgeous.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, and I love the fret access, the way that the cutaway is.
Yeah.
That's cool. And that neck heel is beautiful.
So this is the reason I didn't play the Hello Kitty guitar on stage with the Aristocrats.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't go from this to that piece of shit.
Right.
I mean, this thing, it plays so well. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
It's got such a great sound. It's stable. I mean, this thing is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is my new favorite. And he made this one and this one. Yeah. This was the last one that I had. This is my favorite for a while.
Ooh, look at that. I love that.
Isn't that cool?
So this one I did not black limba, but I stained it blue, but because of the grain of the wood, it came out kind of a green. And I put P90s in.
I see a little green.
Yeah. And string through. And
string through. Nice. What are it's just straight up P90s? Just like just P90s. No fucking about.
There's no fucking about. That reminds me of JP too, the one you're holding on to, Dan. It's got the big horn.
Yep.
The Music Man style. Yep.
Yeah. It's got the carved. Yeah. The Music Man, you got them the Music Man. Which one? The JP100?
No, that's what I'm saying. That guitar that you have reminds me of that.
It kind of it does kind of look like
the horn. The big. It's just the horn on the top. That offset horn.
See it with my pink strap to match my Hello Kitty guitar.
Attaboy.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I love the stripe.
Thanks. So it's an ebony stripe, and then I did it chambered with sound holes, and then I just did kind of the small, like the stellar.
I haven't seen that one, but that's pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Over a pine body.
Nice. Nice.
But the pine just sings, and look at I don't know if you can catch it, but look at the grain in that neck.
Yeah.
I can kind of see it. It's a little blurry. So what's the neck?
Roasted maple.
Nice. Yeah, that's what this is too. This is
Pretty.
Thanks.
look at the back of that, Carl. You'll dig that.
Look at that. I like the
Oh,
stripes.
that's gorgeous.
Attaboy.
That is nice.
He does amazing work.
Oh,
Very pretty.
yeah, that's
There's
honestly, that's like way beyond what I'm capable of.
Well, it's like a year and a half. Like I it takes a long time, and then so I only have 3, and I but like honestly, like that's that weird P rails pickup.
Okay.
That is just a weird thing. It's a P90 with a humbucker, or it's a P90 with an extra rail, so you can turn it into a humbucker or a P90.
Is it a micro switch? Is it a switch to flip it?
Yeah, it's a
activated,
switch.
or is it a coil tap? Is it like a push pull?
Well, so
Like a
I have it set. Let's see if I can remember all of so basically I use okay, so here's what it is. So that's this pickup.
Okay.
Mhm.
This middle section is that's right. The middle one is these two
Okay.
split. So it's that in between strat sound.
Yeah.
Got it.
The position 4.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
out of phase strat sound.
Yeah.
And then this is the P90.
Oh, nice.
So it's only 3 sounds.
Okay.
It only does 3 things. And then this just turns on the LEDs it's got LEDs in the neck. You can't see them because it's light, but it's
So
got,
for the fret markers when you're on stage.
yeah, it's got pink
cool.
LEDs in the neck.
That's really cool.
Very cool.
So and then the volume, because
somebody
no
had
tone.
the fret markers as fiber optics, and it went in and curved up.
that's how he did this. There's one LED down here, and then it's got a fiber optic channel.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
It's amazing work. When you see the inside of it, it's just these tiny little fiber channels.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
amazing.
That's really
Super cool.
And I don't get to, I haven't played on stage, and
Yeah.
first time was opening for the Aristocrats.
Oh,
That was a good first time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
First time in 3 years. But yeah, I was gonna ask. So is he gonna do music school, or like does he want to pursue it for reals?
Oh, buddy, I actually constantly have to remind myself that he's just 12, right? Because he's sort of an old soul in a young body, but
Sure.
Music is our anchor. That's what we do. Like, we don't play video games. It's funny to hear you talk about just like sitting in your bedroom and practicing. That's my 12-year-old. That's what he does. He's not interested in much else, not girls, not anything. He wants to be a musician. So yeah, I'm very convinced that this is what he's going to do, but we're kind of still at that point where just trying to stuff as much good music as I can in his head, and he still doesn't really have the confidence to make his own music.
Yeah,
but that's kind of the next natural progression, is just him being 12 years old and being as good as he is his best attribute and his biggest enemy, right? Like, he's played with grown men. We played Ballard Seafood Fest. A buddy of mine plays in a cover band, and he got to play Eruption in front of like 1,000 people. Super awesome, but he's just not old enough to play with the people that are up to his caliber. He goes to School of Rock. He's been gigging since he was like 7 years old. But there's not a lot of super hyper focused 12-year-olds out there. So, lately he comes home and he's like, "Dad, I can't play with these shitheads." And I'm like, "What's going on, buddy?" He's like, "They're just not committed, and I can't play with anybody that doesn't, have the commitment that I do."
Right.
And I'm like, I get that, right?
He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So we try to find the happy medium between, saying, "Hey, you're super blessed at 12 to have all the skills that you have, but when you're playing with a 16-year-old kid and a 12-year-old's trying to teach you how to do something, it's kind of a kick in the nuts. So you need to stay humble and try to be the best bandmate you can." So it's an evolution, man. It's fun to make creative kids, and it's my joy to just even be a dadager and introduce them to all this stuff. So it's super fun, man.
Sure.
Yeah,
Is
I'm so proud of him.
Is Berkeley a possibility?
Anything's a possibility. Like, I mean, music is his life, and that's what he wants to do. Whatever that entails, I don't know. It's a journey. But at this point, like, you know, he plays drums, he plays bass, he just wants to play music, and that's where his passion and his love is. And so whatever it becomes, I'm there to support him.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah, it's super fun. Keep an eye. We always do a lot of videos, and
I will.
Does he have a personal teacher?
He has a guitar, you know, he goes to lessons as well at School of Rock.
Okay.
But we do a lot of our stuff at home, and he's a better guitarist than me, man. Like, I'm super average basement dad guitarist, and he's just way above. His 12 years old. He understands it. I mean, Bushy will tell you.
Yeah, his teacher was Duffy Delgado for a while.
Oh, okay. Sure.
You know, yeah,
absolutely.
He's working over. I think he's working at Sweetwater now.
Yep.
Yeah,
he lives in Indiana.
I saw him at Porn Jam, and he was like, "We both left."
Yeah. And he's like the nicest guy in the world too. And he absolutely loves Liam.
Duffy is family, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
he's a good,
absolutely
amazing human being.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, well, I'm a big advocate for music school. Like, it's just an accelerator.
Yeah. Right.
And for me, like, I didn't have the opportunity to, like, I was overseas, so I didn't have the opportunity to, like, I could only practice in my bedroom. There wasn't music school. There wasn't anything really there.
Right.
So I'm sort of jealous of the support and the opportunities that you know, he has.
Sure.
But the MI specifically is geared towards it just being, or was geared towards it just being 1 year, because by the time you're 24, you're out of the fucking music business, right?
Right.
Like, that's the sad fact, right? Like, you're too old to start when you're 24.
Right.
Right. They want prodigies. Like, everybody has to be on The Voice when they're 14 so that you have a record deal by the time you're 16, and then you're over the hill by the time you're 22. You know, that's the problem. Sure. So MI is like a concentrated. They basically try to do 4 years of music school in 1 year, and it's a lot. It's intense. Yeah. You do 10 hours a day, 300 hours a quarter.
Wow.
And so it's a lot. You don't really get it for years. Like, you just still, you know, you don't absorb it all at the same time, and you do. But it's to me, it was absolutely worth it. So anyway, I'm just an advocate for, you know, like, a heads down music school for somebody.
No, I would appreciate. Yeah, send me. I mean, we're linked up, so send me some recos.
Yeah, I mean, there's two. There's Berkeley and MI.
Yeah,
I mean, regular UW has a great music program, but really, there's nothing really. Berkeley and Juilliard, I guess. Yeah, but for rock and roll, MI used to be the place, but Berkeley now has a great rock jazz program.
Yeah,
you know, right. I would lean towards Berkeley. Really.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. Start saving.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Berkeley College of Music is amazingly expensive. I looked at going there in like 86 on a dual major for classical guitar and jazz trumpet, and it was like $7,000 a semester. That didn't include room and board, and that was in like 86. Yeah, that was crazy. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna move to Seattle.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy expensive. It's unnecessarily expensive.
Yeah, and I recognized I'm never going to be a rock star. You know, it's fun to play. It's fun to be in a band, and it's fun to go out. And I love playing music, but I've got a face for radio. You know, I'm not photogenic. And
you're over 30. Like,
I am.
Like, they don't give a shit. Like,
right.
If you're over 30, like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Unless you had a hit when you were 22.
Yeah.
And now you're over 30, maybe somebody will pay attention, but like, you're over 30. Nah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, not unless it's not unless it's a nostalgia act. It's like, oh yeah, you were the,
exactly.
you were the 14-year-old from the Partridge Family that, that washed out on a Coke bender and tried to stab his uncle. It's
Right.
like, oh yeah, we'll have you on.
Yep.
We'll get you on The Masked Singer, or,
Right.
a cameo on the Kardashians or some stupid thing. It's like,
but I mean, the other side of it is the music business is terrible and stupid. So like,
yeah,
I mean, it's just an awful place to be involved with. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, when you have that thing that like I have, you can't I had it. I put it right here. You can't not do it.
It's
Like,
a
it
bug,
sounds like you can't not do it. Like you,
right.
Yeah,
you don't have we don't have a choice.
Right. It's part of the first toy I remember getting was one of these stupid little Radio Shack Ladybug record players. And that was the coolest toy in the world, because I had a stack of 45s and I had a stack of albums, and it barely would hold a full LP, because it was like one of these little small portable things. And the arm, it almost like you had to tuck it in to get the arm to go. And I would be in my room for hours and hours and hours listening to Cheap Trick and Aerosmith and, Kansas, and
like I have a physical reaction to music. Like we do that. Some people don't have that thing. Like it doesn't compel them in any way. And that to me is really weird. And like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Or what am I doing here? Like, that's kind of how I feel. Like, what do I get up in the morning to do? Like, everything, like, I worked at Microsoft for 20 years, on and off, and that was just so that maybe 45 minutes a month I could stand on stage and play guitar in front of 14 people who didn't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason. That's
no choice.
That's the thing.
No choice.
And it's like, I apologize that your son has that, but I'm also really happy for him.
No, absolutely not. And I kind of tell him, even if it's not something that you do for a living, you have that, and that's a blessing, because not a lot of people have it. Like you say, like, people don't react to music like that, and I'm just not wired like that, so we don't get that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a soundtrack in your fucking head all day long for everything that you experience. Music moves you, period.
Right.
Even to the point where I remember what records smell like.
Yeah, man. Acetate's got a smell.
When they come out of the sleeve, when you first peel off that cellophane and you're sliding out the thing, and just the smell of a fresh record.
But yeah, absolutely same.
And just being, that was a magical experience. Like especially one that had the gatefold, buying a record and you open it up and there's like a photo spread or all the lyrics or something. Just it was a magical, it was a package of so much cool stuff. You're listening to the record and you're just poring over the inner sleeve that's like a photo insert. And
I remember seeing Dark Side for the first time, like opening it, and like the rainbow and the prism and the lyrics, and like I have that image. I must have been 4 or something, I don't remember where I was, but I remember that action. Like, I have that image in my brain, and then seeing it, and just like that thing. The ones
that really the ones that stood out to me, there's 3 of them. Kiss Alive 2 with the big photo insert, and you see Peter Criss riser with the pyro. Triumph, Just a Game, had a game. You open it up and it was like a board game.
Oh, wow.
You put your character, all you needed is a dice and whatever to use your players, and it had a board game.
Wow.
For you to play while you're listening to the record. And I thought that was amazing. And Thin Lizzy Jailbreak with the cartoon, with the comic book, like the comic.
I never saw that. I've never seen that one.
It's just like magical. It's like the characters are running at you like a Marvel comic. And
gotcha.
It was larger than life, and you're just looking at it going, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And then
Nice.
you
Yeah.
In my
hear
mom's record collection, Butchie, I still have that Dark Side of the Moon, and the original one came with stickers.
Yeah.
So, and I still have the stickers from the
Mm.
inlet of that. Yeah.
Wow.
Kiss
Now,
Alive
now we're
too.
gonna get all old and cunty, and like how music sucks now, and
Yeah.
nothing really, like the artwork isn't there.
Yeah.
Like part of the experience is sort of cut out of an album, man.
Even even CDs when they, that's all gone away. The CD booklet, and every once in a while you'll download a like an MP3 full album, and they'll give you a little PDF of what the thing would be.
And that was kind of their horrible attempt at, reconciling that part of it, but
yeah,
it's not the same anymore.
it's
man.
not the same.
It just isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like this was a lot of work. Like the artwork on here was a lot of work.
Yeah,
the love that goes into that kind of packaging, and that
right.
Like that is amazing.
Yep.
And like 150 people will see it, maybe. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Maybe more people will download it, but they'll, if they play it online, they don't, they see
that shit, right? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes now you see like the animated little versions on iTunes or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I think the artwork is just as important as the music, because that's where it came from.
It's yeah, I mean, it's an enhancement for sure,
Yeah.
It's certainly something to like hold. It's visceral. You have that experience while you're listening to it,
No doubt.
It was a different time.
It was, yeah. I was just gonna say, this is where we get old
and record stores mostly don't even exist anymore.
Right.
Right. I work in Fremont, and there's a record store right there.
No kidding.
Yeah, there's an old used record store like a block away from me, and I go by it every single day. And I just I pop in every week. I'll go in and kind of thumb through the records, and just tactily, and I love it. And I'm always just like, hey, I just want you guys to know I'm really happy you're here. And they've been in that place for 30 years.
What's it called?
I can't remember the name of it.
Okay.
It's not Easy Street, but it's
okay.
It's the one in
Easy
Fremont.
Street's the only real big one that's left.
Yeah.
There's some little
Easy Street in West
around
Seattle
here and there. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Is Silver Platter still around?
No,
not
that I know of.
None of them.
No, okay. I don't think so.
I think there's one up in Northgate. I mean, at Alderwood.
Oh, okay.
I think they sell represses at Guitar Center.
Yeah.
Of like Appetite for Destruction or something cool like that.
Yeah. That's about it.
That is about it. No, like digging through crates and finding gems.
Cutout bins. How many cool bands were you turned on to because you could get it for $2?
Exactly. Exactly.
So where I was in Thailand.
Yeah.
And my experience was like everything was pirated. Like it was it was all fake, right?
Oh, okay.
It was just like you didn't get the real, it was all tapes, and it was literally just a copy of a copy of a copy, right? It sounded terrible.
Yeah.
And it had like a photocopy of the cover. And then when you opened it, it was just like a Maxell or whatever, like a blank tape, right?
Yeah.
But it had
super bootlegs.
It was, I mean, it was just like somebody had bought the real one and then put it in, and then they just would just put copies and dubbed over on blank tapes. They just have factories like that. So like, but they were basically free. They were like 50 cents a tape.
Oh wow!
With the exchange rate, at the time.
Yeah.
And then eventually they went up to like $1 a tape. But like I would just go, you just go like you're saying, like everything was the cutout bin. So like Motley Crue and Warren and all the top level stuff, because it was only top level stuff. You wouldn't get the anything really fun and interesting because nobody would buy it, so they didn't really traffic in it, right?
Yeah.
But you could go and buy 10 full albums for $10. And so like I had those tapes, like a lot of those tapes got all the way to like 2006, 2007 in a box that I had from Thailand. We moved to Manila, then we moved to Italy, then we moved to Seattle, then we moved to LA, then we moved to Seattle. And, like I had those forever, like, oh, I'll listen to these eventually. And then No,
Yeah,
never,
no.
ever, ever, ever.
That's
But,
amazing.
Still fun to have.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
whole different experience for me. It was weird. I grew up weird, man.
The weird is that I tell my daughter that sometimes she gets this, she goes through this phase where she doesn't feel like she fits in and she doesn't think she's like everybody else. And I tell her, you know what? Love that because,
yes.
because honestly, that is going to be the best. That's going to benefit you in so many ways.
Mhm.
And now she's at that point where she has a group of friends, but she also has the oddball friends, and she brings them home with her. And I'm like, oh, I saw you. You know, you brought your friend home, and you know, is she in your circle of friends? She's like, no, my friends don't like her. They think she's weird. And I'm like, good. Not only good on you for making friends with the weird kid, but good on you for bucking what your group of friends is doing to go hang out with her.
Right.
And,
don't let it affect your.
Yeah. Right. And so I'm super proud of her for doing that and kind of living her life of, well, I didn't feel like doing what they were doing, so I'm going to go hang out with my friend over here.
And having the self-confidence to be able to do that. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, middle school fucking sucks. And I'm living with a fucking 12-year-old. I hear about it every day, how his haircut is gay and why do you listen to that music and this and that. And it's a hard road to hoe for a 12-year-old to just
Are there no other metal?
Hey man, like, come talk to me in 5 years and you'll understand. Like, I'm ahead of the game, right? And I tell him that all the time. And it's tears sometimes, man. It's no joke.
Wow.
Fucking kids are fucked.
Yeah, kids are
They really, really are.
Most of the time, they're just little shitheads.
And it's jealousy, right? Like they see someone that's super into whatever they are, and it's not what they're into, and they want to be a shithead because it's not what they're into.
Yeah.
Well, he has a path, right? Like most kids, they don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. They don't have a talent at that level. Like, did you ever? There's a movie called Searching for Bobby Fischer. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah. It's about a chess prodigy.
Yeah, it's about a chess prodigy. But his dad goes in. There's a scene where his dad goes into, like, I always get choked up about this because his dad goes into the school because the teacher's like, you gotta keep him from playing chess because it's affecting his schoolwork. And his dad is like, he's better at this than you or I will ever be at anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna support him in that.
Right.
As much as I can, because that's what deserves support, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that's the thing that is important, right? Whatever else, like, fine, but recognizing that at this age is incredibly important, and supporting that is incredibly important. Fuck what everybody else is doing, you know?
Right.
I mean, that's just so. I don't know. It's such a great lesson, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
In that statement, like, he's better at this than you or I will ever be at anything. Sticks with me, you know?
Yeah. And therein lies the point. It's just tough for a 12-year-old that just wants to
be different.
He's different, but he just wants to be accepted at the same time, right? So I feel, I mean, I got that when I was a kid. I was a skater fag, and you know, all the jocks want to beat me up and shit like that. So I completely understand how tough it is to be fucking 12 years old.
I was a little kid with a big mouth in a hick. Yeah. So I got the shit kicked out of me daily.
I imagine so.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't have any real regrets about it. It made me want to leave that town like the second I graduated.
Right.
And you know, I have been amazingly lucky in how my life has turned out. And I don't have any regrets because being a little shithead in a hick town kind of groomed me for escaping and getting over.
Served you,
no doubt.
And you know, and I moved over here to be a mouthy shithead. And you know, it's all worked out for me. At some point, being a mouthy shithead goes from getting your ass kicked to making girls laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely and that's sort of the rock and roll of it. Right. Therein lies the rock and roll, right? That little attitude, that little sort of glimpse of like, well, fuck you, right? Like that's the delineation,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, we all obviously had it. Like I was a mouthy asshole too, you know, but like I was a guitar player by 12 and that was my identity, but it was 1987. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I wasn't cool. I played D&D and computer games and shit, but like I kind of was also a guitar player, and I was a dorky guy, but I like had that as my identity, you know. And I was also in a really small, like it was an international school, and like there was barbed wire everywhere, and everybody was like, we just had a small community. So I was kind of an outcast, but we didn't have that whole thing going on because we were just closed off from everybody.
Yeah.
We did kind of a little bit within our thing, but not to the degree, you know, that it was here. But I was definitely, I mean, I was definitely a mouthy asshole, you know. I mean, that has not changed.
That stuff doesn't go away.
It doesn't. It becomes part of you, and
no doubt.
It also affects your relationships. You know, it's like when I did the little promo and I said I wanted to be I wanted to be a group of friends with a level of camaraderie where you kind of flip each other's shit, because that's how my friends and I interact. We rip on each other. And I think a lot of people kind of have that group of friends that doesn't let them skate on anything. It's like, they're going to call you on it. And they're also going to jump on any opportunity when you say something stupid. And it's like, cause I say stupid things a lot, and it comes back on me tenfold. And most of the time my reaction is that I laugh. It's like, if somebody can get me, I love it. I am,
as it should be. You should be responsible for the stupid shit that comes out of your mouth.
Yeah, I celebrate getting burned as much as I celebrate burning somebody else.
Yeah.
But the other side of that though is that you can, like, for me anyway, like with my friends, like the people that I allow to like fuck with me like that are also the people that I would show up for at 3 o'clock in the morning if something went down. Right.
Totally.
Like,
absolutely.
Like,
not the average.
They would do that for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can fuck with me and I can fuck with you and all that shit. But if something happens, like, I'm there.
Yeah, your family. And
I'm in Mountain View, so I can't really do that anymore. But you know, but like, really, I'll get on a fucking plane. I don't care. You know, I'm there.
Yeah.
So like, that level, you have to get to that level, and then you can just be like, hey, kiss my ass. You know.
Yeah. Sure. Then you can be savage, right?
Like Jay and I are always like, when we hang up the phone, it's like, die in a fire. You know, like that's the end of the whatever.
I've only hung out with Jay a couple of times, but hanging out with him a couple of weeks ago at Daryl's, he's really funny. He's got a great sense of humor, and him and Steve and I together, we had a great time. And
one of these, you should have both of us.
I want him and you, and probably Bergstrom as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Yeah,
because
he and I talk, like, this is how he and I do this.
Yeah.
You know, our favorite thing is to talk about that era from like 89 to like 93 of music, like in that sort of, that whole transition, you know, the burning out of hair metal, but still hair metal.
Grunge.
Yeah. Before grunge blew up, and
sort of before 90's a weird year. And then 91 is the weird, like 91, beginning of 91, and then summer of 91, and then fall of 91 is this just astonishing year for music. And then, like I said, 92 and 93 were the bands that didn't get the message or are around. And then, you know, grunge sort of goes away by then. Like, it's sort of done, you know, 93, 94. I mean, it echoes, but it's kind of really, you know, by 94, 95, like, you're just getting... It was so popular that you're getting what you were talking about earlier, like the bands that got signed as imitators, you know,
copycats, right?
Copycats, and they're what's in the charts because you know, whatever, fucking Nirvana took 5 years to make a new record or whatever it was. You know, I don't remember exactly, but you know, that's kind of what happened. So that's that. Jay and I love talking about that slice. We call it lace sensor era Clapton.
Oh yeah. Because he played those Strats with the lace sensor pickups, and those
big fucking jackets and
big
shit.
jackets with the the padded shoulders,
Right.
and,
Right,
yeah,
right.
and the
That's
and
the-
the and the manscaped beard.
Straight
Yeah.
up. Right, right.
Oh.
Then now John Mayer made a tribute record to that era of Clapton.
Oh no.
Have you heard that record?
No, but
No.
I bet he did it unironically as well.
He's walking the line.
Yeah.
Like
he has like I kind of go both ways on Mayer, in that
I've
he's
heard that
very
about you.
talented and a great guitar player, and he also has kind of that doesn't take himself too seriously, but he also kind of comes across as really douchey.
Yeah.
Is it just because he's pretty? Is that what he's guilty of?
No, I just think he's
He's
a little bit of a pandering, but like, and I'm still not crazy about the Paul Reed Stratocaster thing. The like, if you're gonna build a Strat, have Fender do it. Don't have Paul Reed Smith
do
make
it.
you a Stratocaster.
what is that thing, man? That thing is just awful.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Like
Does
that's
it?
the problem. It
Yeah.
sounds. I've never played one.
What's it called? Like a
probably plays
Skylark
great.
or something?
It's a
Yeah, I
night
forgot the name
sky
of
or
it.
some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, but it sounds really good.
Yeah. It's a
But, like,
$4,000 Stratocaster.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It better fucking sound good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, he's a decent enough sort of. I don't hear a lot of innovation in his playing,
Yeah.
but I hear a lot of consonants. Like he's definitely able to play
Yeah.
like
He's
What he
well.
plays.
He
Yeah.
definitely has a vocabulary.
Yeah, yeah, and he can sing, and you know he's got a thing. He's himself. Like, you know, a John Mayer song when you hear it.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, so great for him. And I mean, I have sort of
Grudging respect.
what's that?
A grudging respect.
A grudging respect, I guess. A grudging respect.
One of the things that I will tag him on is that he doesn't, for as shred capable as he is, he doesn't overplay. Whereas
He doesn't
like,
on his records,
right.
but apparently he does live.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen some
Yeah,
live
which is
stuff where
cool.
he goes
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
But like Joe Bonamassa, it's like, I'm gonna play a slow blues.
This is
You
true.
know? It's like,
Yeah. Are you in that guitar player boomers group on Facebook?
no.
Where they it's called a guitar group where everybody acts like boomers,
Oh,
Oh
God.
no.
No.
and they just destroy Bonamassa. They call him Joe Boner Mustard, and they just, like, you know, it's
Oh
all
no.
it's just all making fun of like Banker Blues and all that, you know, Boomer Bends, and it's like, it's really funny.
that sounds hilarious. But the comment I made was, he spends $2 million on a 59 Les Paul and $6 on a haircut.
Yeah. True story.
Yep. I also have grudging respect for Bonamassa, just because he can do the thing that he set out to do.
Yeah.
You know, like, he set out to kind of bring blues to the masses, really.
Yeah.
And
He sells arenas. He sells
out arenas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how his record sales do, but he plays Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
He sells out all this, you know, he does really, and he's a guitar player who's playing great instruments. He's playing great.
He likes pretty instruments.
He does, you know, he's a great collector. He's a preserver of stuff.
Yep.
You know, he knows tone. He knows gear. He knows.
He's
you know,
he's a guitar geek, and
he's a
Yeah.
guitar
and
geek.
can
He knows
learn.
his.
He knows the intricacies of all of the old Gibsons and the Fenders and the Gretches and the
Right. And he has a style. He has that like sort of smooth Clapton thing with the Eric Johnson thing kind of on top of it, you know. Whether you like that or not, you know, it's not gritty enough for me. It doesn't ever get like dirty and filthy enough to be bluesy for me.
It's mainstream
It's a thing.
palatable, you know.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's been 2 hours. What do we want to do?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say we've been
was gonna
yakking.
say,
I got the
this-
bladder of a 9-year-old
is-
girl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Taking
that's
this
true.
bathroom
me
break.
too. This has been amazing.
Absolutely true.
Thanks,
I want-
Butchie.
I want to thank you guys. I absolutely made the right choice in having you guys as the pilot episode, because this has been a great conversation. It's been a lot of fun. I love you guys. You guys are absolutely a blast. And
Yeah, absolutely.
all right.
So much fun. So much fun.
So fun. Hey,
Really.
Dan, send me that school information.
I will, absolutely.
And in
Please,
fact,
yeah, let's connect, okay?
when this gets posted in the comments section, I will have links to Jay, your and Liam's YouTube channel. Dan, I'll have send me some links of links to your music and links to your guys' band and what you guys
Really,
have.
the only thing is, well, I guess it's lateseptemberdogs.com and Facebook/lateseptemberdogs. That's really
Okay.
it.
Yeah, and I'll include all that so they can check you guys out.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Thank you guys so much. This has been amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Fucking roll, man.
All right.